Last summer, I bought my first road bike and I instantly fell in love with it. But now that temperatures are dropping, I need a whole new set of kit to continue riding. So it's a perfect time to take a look at some winter cycling essentials from Decathlon. .19 miles, 64 minutes of cycling at 126 beats per minute in 35-degree temperatures along the lakefront here in Chicago. A perfect time to try out this new winter cycling kit from Decathlon. Now, before I tell you about how all this gear did, I do want to go over some disclosures. All the gear that's been featured in this video today is stuff that I purchased myself. No one sent it to me. No one's paying me to make this video, and no one's going to get a chance to preview any of my footage or my thoughts before you guys get a chance to see this video on YouTube. So with that disclosure out of the way, let's talk about this winter cycling kit from Decathlon. First, let's look at the Triban RC500 winter cycling jacket. That's this bright yellow jacket here that's cut in a cafe racer style, which I'm absolutely loving. It's super bright and super visible, reflective strips everywhere. They designed it specifically to have 360-degree visibility, whether it's daylight, twilight, or nighttime, and it adheres to the EN1150 standard. I typically like everything to kind of be black or gray, but I felt like on the bike where I tend to forget to bring lights with me, and when I tend to go out riding and it gets darker faster than I'm expecting, I felt like having some high visibility gear would be a useful thing to have. So I went with this super bright yellow jacket. It's windproof and water repellent, and it is of a thicker material that's designed for those air speeds that are going to be hitting you and cooling you down even below what the winter temperatures are going to be. There's a couple of different materials going on in this jacket. There's kind of like the windproof water repellent material that has kind of a little bit of an outer shell to it, so that way like water doesn't beat up right on the surface. But also on some of the side panels, there is something that's a little bit more of like a stretchy fleece material as well. They're using those different types of panels to not only keep you warm, but also to release excess heat that may accumulate as you're cycling. There's also zippers underneath the armpits, so that way you can further air out and vent out if it does get a little bit warmer than you're expecting, so it can help you regulate temperature. Along the bottom, it's got those grippy bits to help to keep this jacket in place, and it's got tons of pockets. I love the amount of pockets that this jacket has. It's kind of got two side pockets, and they're of like the cycling variety, not like the normal, like, you know, hands in your jacket pocket kind of variety. So there's two that are kind of on the side, and then there's one large one and then a smaller one along the back, and a zipper pocket in there as well. So lots of room for all your stuff and easily accessible. There's also a zipper pocket along the chest, which I appreciate. Along the cuff, it has like a part that's extra tight and fitted, so that way none of the cold weather is going to get inside the jacket as well. And on the top, there is a built-in neck gaiter that you can detach in case you wanted to wear that and have that on during the ride. I had it on for part of the ride today and then had it off for the rest of the ride. So today was a day I probably could have just left it on the entire time, but it's kind of nice to have that kind of built into the jacket in case you find yourself needing it. And this one is a little bit thicker than kind of like the regular buffs or other neck gaiters that I have for running. This one's a little bit thicker, which I appreciate, given that, you know, when I'm on the bike, the wind speeds are going to be faster. I ended up really loving the fit on this jacket, and for the hour that I was out there, I felt like it was just perfect. I had just a t-shirt underneath it, and that was fine. All I needed to keep myself warm for this hour-long ride today. So the next thing that I want to talk about is going to be these winter cycling tights. They're the Rysel water repellent windproof cycling tights. They are of the bib variety, so they come up over the shoulders, and the part that comes up over the waist is nice and stretchy, very ventilated, so it's not going to add to a ton of extra heat. So you can regulate that with the other pieces of apparel that you're wearing. But as far as the tights go, there is a chamois in here, which is nice and comfortable. And there's kind of two types of material in here that help keep it to be windproof and water repellent. There's one part that has like more of a shell to it, which I think definitely is going to help with repelling some of that water and the wind. And that's from kind of like the knee down. And then at the knee, there's like the thickest layer of material there. It's like a stretchy material that's really good at help keeping in the warmth. And through the thighs, you also have another material that is a little bit of a shell kind of coating to it that's going to help keep that wind and water off of your leg. So I really enjoyed having these tights on. They definitely kept me warm throughout the entire ride as well. Had no issues with them at the temperatures we're at today. Wasn't super cold from like a running perspective, but from like a riding perspective, I wouldn't want to ride in the winter without something like these on, because otherwise I just think my legs and knees are going to get so cold. My only other like winter riding experience was years ago, back before I was married, back before we had kids, lived in St. Louis. My only mode of transportation at the time was a motorcycle. I rode that thing all year round. My legs got very cold riding a motorcycle in the winter, even though St. Louis doesn't have that cold of a winter. So that has been my biggest fear, is like how cold the legs are going to get. I feel like I really like these tights, and I'm definitely gonna be able to wear them a little bit further into the winter. The product listing says that it's going to be good from like 27 degrees to 50 degrees Fahrenheit. And I felt like I'm kind of in the middle of that range today, or towards the lower end of that range today at 35 degrees. But I feel like there's plenty of room for this to go even colder and still be comfortable in it. The one thing that I'll mention about it in terms of sizing, I went with a medium for this one, and I felt like I think it's probably the right size. I weigh about 145 and about 5'10", and I felt like it was a little bit tight. Like I felt like by the time I put the shoulder straps on, I was kind of like hunched over a little bit on the bike, and ended up being pretty comfortable, but kind of just wearing it standing around felt a little bit snug. And I think part of that is like this chamois that's in here. It's bright blue colored, that you could see it. If I flip this part around, it's a rather large chamois, and I feel like because it's so large, it's kind of like getting jammed up in the crotch area, and I feel like I can't like, when I was trying to put it on, it felt like I was putting on like a wetsuit on the bottom, because I just kept having to like pull up material and then like shimmy some more of it up, pull more up, and then shimmy it to try to get it to kind of fit properly. And I felt like because this chamois is so big, I couldn't quite get the perfect fit that I wanted. And so it felt a little bit tight. I think that after a couple of uses, after a couple of washes, I feel like it's going to settle in just fine, but kind of out of the box, it felt like a little bit kind of snug. All right, let's go over two things that are a little bit cheaper. We'll go to the gloves next. The gloves are the Van Rysel 900 winter cycling gloves. These are touch sensitive, so like they have the little bits on the fingertips and the thumb, so you can still touch a phone or a cycling computer. They're very thick gloves, and they've got some reflective bits on it as well. These do come in black, but I felt like I'm getting the super reflective jacket, might as well get the super reflective gloves to go with it. And these gloves did pretty well. I've told you guys in many other videos that like my hands just get cold super fast, and towards the end of the ride, maybe about the last 15 minutes of it, my hands started to get a little bit uncomfortable. They felt a little bit cold. Decathlon also sells one that's more of like the lobster claw style, where like some of the fingers are in like a half mitten, and then you have your other fingers are free, so that way you can still operate all your brakes and gears shifting. But I think I probably need to check that out, because these were just a little bit, even on a day that's 35 degrees when I'm on the bike, really wasn't quite enough. What I do like about them though, have these little pads on the palms of the gloves, which make it nice and comfortable for when you're holding onto the bike for a very long time. So overall, comfort's there. The warmth is almost what I want out of a winter riding glove, but otherwise the fit's great, comfortable, and the price is $40, which I feel like is a very good price for the amount of performance that you're getting out of these gloves. All right, the last thing that we'll talk about is these shoe covers. And reading some of the reviews of these on Decathlon, these are either going to be fantastic or they were going to be absolute trash. For me, these ended up working out great. So these are supposed to be water repellent and windproof. They feel like they have almost like a vinyl covering on the outside. So I feel like they're going to be doing a really good job at keeping out the elements. Today, I felt like by the end of my ride, my feet were certainly cold, but I felt like they were doing better than my hands were doing in the gloves. And I ultimately really enjoyed these. They were, I mean, maybe it's because it was the first time I ever put on shoe covers over, bike shoes before, but they were a little bit difficult to put on, but ultimately not that big of a deal. And I was able to get them fit properly, but it was a little bit of work to get these zipped all the way to the top. Now, I ordered these in size 9 to 10.5, and I have a size 9 shoe. I feel like if you're a 10.5, these might be difficult to get into, so you might want to size up, but I'm at the size 9, and these like kind of fit just right. So that's some sizing advice, although I just recently looked at it and it looks like all the sizes are sold out. So when these do get back in stock, I would say probably, unless you're at that low end like I am at the 9 of the 9 to 10.5, I would say size up on these. But they did a great job. I really enjoyed having them on. I think they look great. They fit great for me. And they've got little reflective bits along the back as well, which again, I feel like on the bike, I want to be seen. So I don't mind having all these kind of crazy colors and being super bright. These shoe covers are 2.5 millimeters thick. So I feel like they're going to do a pretty good job in terms of keeping my feet warm enough. And I definitely enjoyed having them on today. And the price is $30 for these shoe covers. So that is the winter cycling kit that I just picked up from Decathlon. Overall, it was kind of an expensive day, about $270 in terms of what I was ordering. But I feel like having like a full setup of clothes that's going to take me deeper into the winter, I think that's a pretty good bargain. I don't know exactly how much deeper into the winter I'll be able to ride. Especially because, some of the road conditions are going to start to get a little bit sketchy as the temperatures continue to drop. But we'll see how far I can take it because I do really enjoy riding and mixing that in with my running. And hopefully this will be a winter where I can ride kind of somewhat frequently. So if you have any questions about any of the pieces that I went over today, feel free to put them in the comments down below. Or better yet, feel free to stop by the live stream that I do Monday through Friday right here on YouTube. I'd love to be able to talk to you guys in the chat. That's all I have for today, everybody. Thanks so much for making it all the way to the end of the video. Hopefully you guys are staying safe out there on your runs, and I'll see you in the next one.
Yo, what's going on?